Today's news desk is dedicated to the massive collapse of Tesla sales in Germany and France, as plastered over all the mainstream media. Tesla sales in Germany and France down 59% in January. Has Elon finally destroyed his own brand? I'm Dave. This is Dave Takes It On. There are probably tens of thousands of EV haters and Elon Musk haters already planning their street parties and fireworks displays, claiming that Musk has finally gone too far and destroyed his own brand. But before I cave in and throw my hands in the air, I just need to keep a balance and verify the data. No, I'm not rejecting them, but neither am I accepting the rantings of thousands of anti-Musk fanatics who provide no proof of their own. The channel is called Dave Takes It On. I will take it on and I'll look for the proof. You still get proper research with sources credited, even if the final answer is that Elon has finally blown it. Don't light that rocket yet. Okay, are they accurate? Who's reporting them? Is there any other explanation? Well, indeed, it seems the figures are accurate, if very incomplete and amazingly biased. Never let the facts get in the way of a good story. Almost every single media headline leads with Tesla sales down 59% in Germany. And that in Germany is highly prominent, as if implying, well, don't look anywhere else because it's not that bad everywhere else. All claims of 59.5% are then followed by another outlandish statement about Musk, but with absolutely no data to back up that secondary claim. But I eventually found one non-sensational offering that had a totally different lead headline. German EV registrations increased by 53.5% in January. Same country, same month, but totally different headline, and the article went on much more soberly, gave an amazing amount of data about EVs. That will be the subject of a separate video, as it is true, accurate data-driven, unsensational reporting. They also reached Tesla and reported, and I quote, "Among the purely electric manufacturers, Tesla is in the lead with 1,277 new registrations, even though the US manufacturer lost 59.5% in January." They also stated that, and I quote, "So far the German Federal Motor Transport Authority has only published the registration figures by drive type and brand." I will shortly explain the relevance of this. It is very relevant. Do any of you find it amazing the negative press that Tesla gets? Or do you enjoy it? Did any other media mention Tesla was the best-selling EV maker in Germany in January? Not that I could find. So fact one, they're still number one bestseller in Germany, but way down on sales. So next it will be important to look at the simple question. Is it just Germany? Or is this the same pattern repeated elsewhere? Well, a more detailed check of Tesla's sales results find a similar picture elsewhere. Still bestseller, but sales are down. Yet general reports around the world show, like Germany, EV sales are up quite substantially in January. Now, you should know 1 month does not make a trend, but projections also show they expect a massive growth for 2025 for EVs. And Tesla, based on this single month, appears to be missing out badly. Well, there's a dilemma there for the anti-EV brigade. They would dearly love Tesla sales to be down, but not against a backdrop of increasing EV sales of every other brand. Anyway, back to Tesla. Let's head over to China, where they finished the year 25% up year on year. In China, using one of the most up-to-date and accurate sources, this is the EV insurance registrations, which is released weekly. Tesla registrations were identical to last year at 10,000 in the week January the 13th and 19th, 2025, make it either top or second in the country. Yeah, BYD don't normally release BEV and hybrid figures separately. And here I found the first sign of an anomaly, because while Musk's rantings in America or Germany in English would be mainstream media headlines there, they would not be mainstream in Wuhan or Shanghai. But a comment in the report certainly was relevant. US car maker launched their facelifted 5-seat Model Y in China. Tesla plans to suspend part of its production lines in Shanghai that produces the revamped Model Y for about 3 weeks in January to better optimize equipment. Well, this is highly relevant. See, Tesla sells far more Model Y than any other model by a long way. And after a massive push in 2024, resulting in an all-time record-breaking Q4 delivery total, they began systematically shutting down production lines to upgrade all of them to the refresh model. They began in Shanghai, and by the end of December, they were already completed and in place. But then they needed a further 3 weeks in January to optimize them. Deliveries are due to commence there in March. Well, here in Europe and America, deliveries are due to commence in May. So the upgrading of the production lines must already be well underway so that they will be ready by March or possibly April for full production. That means they've effectively already shut down production of the old Model Y in gigafactories like Berlin, Texas, and the Fremont factory. Could this have any bearing on why they're selling far less EVs in January? I said I'd come back to the relevance of the figures showing just brand and drive type. The drop in sales by specific model and variant is a critical figure. Was the drop all Model Ys? You see, they might simply not have any Model Ys to sell, hence the lack of massive incentives to get rid of them. We don't yet have that data, and it will be a few weeks before we do. We saw a massive drive in Q4 to sell the old Model Ys. That included 0% interest and unlimited free supercharging. Well, the free supercharging offer is now gone. Are they actually running low on stock? It's possible they've got nothing left. There is a second statement in the financial report that's critical here. In 2023, Musk warned that 2024 would be a tough year. So it's proved. That's not just for EVs, not just for ICE cars. That was just for industry as a whole. It's proved to be. In the report, it's stated that 2025 will be a bumper year with the target of maxing out the gigafactories as soon as possible and hitting the current 3 million production limit. Last year, they hit 1.8 million, so that needs a 60% growth. Impossible? Now, they've already done that sort of growth in the past in a single year, pre-COVID. Yet they know they're going to lose production in the first quarter from all of the factories shutting down on the old Model Y until the refresh takes over. And that's not going to happen in the first quarter. Well, here, the report also mentions other more affordable models on existing production lines to start production in the first half of 2025 to help them reach that 3 million production figure. Well, reading between the lines, Tesla seems quite happy, maybe even planned for the drop in sales in Q1 2025 as it coincides with a massive reorganization of the production lines so that they can come back stronger later in the year. And here yet another major factor comes into play. I recently replied to a viewer comment when he asked if the Model 2 was ever going to be launched. My reply to him stated that the launch would depend on two factors. First, the sales figures for the huge number of budget EVs launching in 2025, not just from the Chinese. I recently launched a video on my top pick of these. My selection was the Fiat Grande Panda from Stellantis. That's priced at $21,000. It's a cracking car. Add in the Chinese like BYD, also in the 20,000 range, and Leapmotor in the 15,000 range, and the EV world has simply changed beyond all recognition in just a few months. It astounded me at the time how the Model Y, a £50,000 EV, ever became the best-selling car in the world in 2023. It had absolutely no right to be there. That spot is normally taken by the likes of, Toyota Corolla, VW Polo, Honda Civic, Ford Puma. All these have been bestsellers, and all of these are budget, smallish family cars at half that price or less. Much more affordable. A £50,000 premium EV had absolutely no place being there. Well, the second factor I mentioned in my reply was the success or otherwise of the refreshed Model Y launch. My reply stated that if these new budget EVs suddenly take off and start selling in huge numbers, then Tesla will find itself out in the wilderness in a dwindling market of premium cars in a very competitive marketplace. At that point, it might have to hurriedly bring forward the launch of the Model 2. Now, is that what we're seeing here? People want an EV, they definitely do, but they definitely do not need or can really afford a premium EV. And they definitely don't want the previous offerings from Legacy Auto. They were just so abysmally poor technologically and so ridiculously stupidly overpriced. Vauxhall Corsa EV at $32,000 or a VW ID3, they once started at nearly $35,000. They might as well just go and buy a Tesla Model 3 or Y. The Fiat Grand Panda looks set to get one of those awards for EV of the year 2025. Now, see how that brand and powertrain data becomes very relevant. Germany saw a massive rise in EV sales and a massive drop in Tesla premium sales. Did the rise all go to the budget European, Taiwanese and Chinese brands? BYD did see a 550% rise in sales in Germany. I don't yet have sufficient data to be able to determine that. It could be that Elon has totally blown it, or it could be that the buying public has just suddenly discovered that the budget European EVs and the budget Chinese EVs are actually really good cars, and there's no longer need to buy Teslas at 40k and above. The Model Y refresh launch may produce less than ideal sales. I need to find that answer out, and I will do so for my own benefit. I might one day trade in my Model S, and if the new breed are as good for 25k as the new Model Y refresh is for 50k, then in retirement the new breed will make far more sense. If the new breed actually better in some ways, it'll be a no-brainer. I may be accused of being a fanboy, and I do love my Tesla, but I'm not stupid. Well, for well over a year, I've been screaming out for budget EVs at 25k and below. It's been infuriating that Legacy Auto have been ignoring me and getting into all sorts of trouble and financial mess. I've claimed countless times in numerous videos that EVs must compete on price with our Ford Puma, Vauxhall Astra, VW Golf, Hyundai Tucson. Good family cars at under 30k. When we get those, I predicted, we would see a massive switch to EVs. Could what we're seeing in Germany and a few other countries have little or nothing to do with Musk, but much more to do with the public finally discovering if they've got 25 or 30k to spend, they can now get a really good EV? Could be a bit of or a lot of both. Well, Stellantis certainly seemed to think so eventually. My video praised them for being the first major auto manufacturer to offer their customers complete price parity. Their Vauxhall Frontera is available in hybrid and EV form at exactly the same price. Give the customer the choice, see what they choose, not on price, but on what they want, on what they prefer, on what suits them the best for their circumstances. Now, I know that's what many of you anti-EV brigade have been screaming for a long time. Get rid of the subsidies. Oh, by the way, we never in the UK had any direct subsidies on the EVs. Get rid of compulsion. By the way, there's never been any compulsion in the UK. Let the public decide. I agree. Well done. You finally got that. Now, however, you've got to accept the result. If more than you expected, go ahead and choose the full EV. Well, is there anything else going on at or around Tesla that could possibly have anything to do whatsoever with the massive drop? Well, has anybody heard of the Osborne Effect? Osborne was a computer company many years back and were doing really well in a growing market. Back in 1981, they had good sales, healthy order book. With the rapidly changing technology and faster and more powerful computer chips, they, like others, struggled to keep up with that technology. Then in late 1982, they had a technological breakthrough. They announced it to the world. They would shortly be making a next generation model, faster, bigger, better, more powerful, and actually cheaper than its predecessor. The rest is history. All their customers just instantly cancelled their advance orders to await the new arrival. And with no orders and no cash flow, Osborne Computers just went bust before they could finish it and launch it. No, genuine question, how many people have decided that despite Musk's rantings, the Model Y refresh is just too good to miss? They'll be sat there waiting for the full launch in a few months' time, credit card in hand. We even have a very close guide to its launch price. See, first the Model 3 refresh, it launched at exactly the same price as the old one. So why buy the old one if the new one is better than the same price? But the Model Y refresh launch edition, which is the only one on sale at the moment, is priced a lot higher, $61,000, than the performance one currently is. Well, that indicates that the Model Y performance will be cheaper or the same price than the launch edition, so on down the line. So the single motor long range model is likely to be at least $14,000 cheaper than this one. How many people are currently holding off buying anything at all until that base model is released? That's going to be a cracking bargain. Of course, it could be even cheaper to boost those sales further, because the financial report also stated that they've brought the cost of making a car down to the lowest level ever. It was already cheap. They could happily knock $5,000 off the price on launch to make up for lost ground, or knock $5,000 off the price of the Model 3 to boost those sales before launching their next range of budget models later this year. Where does that leave EVs, and specifically Tesla? Well, for the next 3 months, we're going to have to just endure the howls and ridicule of the anti-EV and the anti-Musk zealots, as Tesla sales are likely to continue to fall. Now, it doesn't mean the end of Tesla. They're the only one with production capacity of 3 million EVs per year. Rest of the world outside China get nowhere near to that total. Even China's targeting a little more than 10 million. Ford, GM, Stellantis, they'll be lucky to reach 500,000 EVs each in 2025. Oh, they state they'll be targeting over 1 million, but they got much bigger problems ahead with Trump tariffs affecting their ICE production. VW says it's targeting 1.5 million 2025, but they don't even have a budget model at the moment. They might struggle to sell anything into the US if they get hit with European tariffs. The ID2 launch date, well, still indeterminate, likely now to be 2026. The newly disclosed 20k model, implying the ID2 will be much dearer, is aimed for 2027. BMW and Mercedes could hit 500,000 each, but both will be deeply impacted by tariffs, if any are applied to the EU. Both will struggle to pick up sales from Musk haters, as this sector of the market is heavily saturated with the Chinese. Neither has anything on offer much below 50k. Tesla's highly profitable and, more importantly, in the financial report stated clearly, we have sufficient liquidity to fund our product roadmap, long-term capacity expansion plans and other expenses. In plain English, we got loads of money already in the bank. This temporary lull, well, it's nothing to us, probably planned. All you others, none of you have even reached mass production yet. Not one of you is profitable on EVs. You struggle to get anywhere near 6% gross margin on ICE that you've been making for over a century. We recently dropped to 16% on EVs. That was a bad year for us. Every single one of you will need to borrow heavily to build the EV production and supply facilities to get anywhere near what we already have. We've got up and running. Some of you might not even manage to get into full production and profitability before your money runs out and you go bust. Within a couple of months, Tesla will open fully the taps of their tried and tested EV, semi, robocab, battery, megapack and lithium facilities with a total 3 million vehicle capacity. So go ahead, have your street parties while you can, set off your fireworks, enjoy these first few months of 2025. Fill your boots. The rest of 25 is going to be a rocky year for the Musk haters and an absolute disaster for any remaining EV haters. I'm Dave, happy with my Tesla.